That was Help Me Rhonda by the Beach Boys. What is it, Nick, that you like about that song?
Again, I think it just reminds me of a time that was pretty carefree for me, and I was a teenager. You're going through a kind of an awakening. You're going into adulthood. You're being exposed to all kinds of things. You're making mistakes. You're learning from them. And along the way, you're having a really good time because you're young. And if only at the time you realized the importance of being in the moment, that would have been amazing. But that's what brings it back to me, if you like, that awakening, that growing up, and also absolutely living the moment, enjoying the moment of being young.
Sounds like you've got some advice to share.
Please send $10 to P.O. Box 94. But you know what I mean? It's the kind of thing you're growing up and you're going, wow, this is fantastic. You're really, just enjoying it, For me, it's what the music is about. It's a kind of a knock-on effect. You go, oh, I remember that. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? And it's usually music that kind of is the key that sort of makes you remember things like that, or makes you not quite relive the emotions, but certainly stirs those emotions. How many records have we listened to?
We're up to our last song already.
You see, I'm just looking through here. I've got my phone here in front of me, and I've got here, there's jazz, Stan Getz, Steely Dan, Steve Miller Band, Rolling Stones, Oscar Peterson. Jazz was another big thing that my dad taught me. Neil Young, Muddy Waters, Miles Davis, Maria Callas, Lou Reed, Loggins and Messina, Linda Ronstadt. And then I did a tour in Denmark with a band called Level 42. You may not remember. But because I spoke Danish, I helped them. We did 5 or 6 cities, did a little tour around with them. But maybe, coming to the last song, it would be appropriate that I talk about my original Danish roots. After all, we came from Denmark and went to America and then to the UK and so forth. And I've always, if you like, vicariously kept in touch with the Danish music scene through my friends in Denmark that I kept in touch with all these years, even over long distances. We wrote letters in those days. And they would say, have you heard this Danish artist? Have you heard this and that? And so I would listen to some of those songs that they were listening to at the time. So that when I came to Denmark on a summer holiday or something like that, I could catch up with the latest sounds from a particular band or artist. So perhaps appropriate then to finish with a Danish song, which is it's a group called Shu-bi-dua, who they were basically very clever wordsmiths. There's a lot of play on words, and you can't really translate it into English as such, so you'll have to bear with me. But they did an unofficial anthem about Denmark itself. And there's a lot of pride in where your roots are. As Keith Richards said, the smell of your own turf is the way he put it just before the Hyde Park concert when they played it again some 40 years on from the first one they did. But they did a song about Denmark, and it's called Danmark, which is how you say Denmark in Danish. And yeah, it always sort of made me feel that I was there, made me slightly homesick. But it's kind of slightly soporific tune that lulls you into imagining you're out in the countryside with a beautiful Danish girl and drinking a cold glass of beer.